having things. I don't really like having things. It doesn't really feel that good, you know? I just feel better not having anything right now. It's like I just want to sell all of my things. I want to get rid of all of my things. Every time I buy something, in that moment I'm fine with it, but later down the road in the future, I want to sell it. We are in this moment right now, and we're talking about when you become so spiritual that you don't care about anything, right? And you're uninterested in anything that society tries to offer you, and you're unfazed by what the collective, what the majority are moved by, and what they're pursuing and what they're chasing in everyday society and in modern day society, right? It's like the higher that you become, the more in alignment that you become, the closer to the source, to the divine source that you reach, the higher you get, the more that you detach from all of these worldly fixations and all of these worldly levels of constraint, like working the job you work and worrying about what's in your bank account and worrying about your materialistic possessions and earnings and what your image looks like when it's put on display for others to look at. Like you have crafted your image. You have developed yourself for years. You have worked on yourself for years. You have crafted your image to be put on display for other people to look at, such as your family members, your peers, your coworkers, society as a collective, right? The people you work with. You start to, the higher you become, the more you start to detach from all of these worldly ideas and these worldly fixations. You start to care less about it. You start to detach from all of these things, right? When you're in alignment and when you're closer to the divine source, you start to become more and more detached from what the collective is focusing on and pursuing and working towards and focusing on, right? Like I have found within myself that I don't like to own anything that much. I'm not much of a materialistic owner. I don't like to own that many materialistic possessions. I feel better without owning anything. The less that I own, the better that I feel. I don't like to really own anything. It's like this, as soon as I start to accumulate things and fill up these empty spaces that I have for myself, the more that I want to sell what I'm collecting or what I'm buying. I don't like to really own things. So I found within myself that I became so detached from everything, my job, what people think of me, how people view me, what's in my bank account, what's in my wallet, what I look like, how much money I have, what I drive, what my face looks like, how my image looks to other people, the image that I've built and developed for years to put on display, to appear a certain way so that I can formulate opinions from other people that are outside of myself, and so on. Like, I've found that I have like detached from just everything at this point. And it's like the higher that I have became, right, the more closer to the source I became, the more that I have eliminated these attachments, these addictions that I've had to, like, substances, or even just materialistic and physical objects, right? Like, I eliminate the addictions and the attachments, right? I live with less. I live a minimalistic lifestyle, right? I live with as little as I could possibly live with. I eliminate all attachments and addictions and vices and things that I'm identified with, and that I'm closely identified with in terms of this ego, in terms of this egoic identity. I cut all ties of my vices, of my addictions, of my habits, of what I'm identified with, right? I live with as little as I could possibly live with. I don't care about praise, and I don't care about compliments that much. I don't care about appearing in any sort of way to anybody. I don't care about how I appear towards anybody, my peers, my coworkers, my family, my friends. And with all of these methods, I have found that I have, and then we're implementing, spiritual practices, eating a good diet, preserving my sexual energy, living a conducive lifestyle, a purposeful lifestyle, where every decision that I make is tailored to fit in accordance to a purpose, to some sort of meaning, and to some sort of direction, right? So I live a conducive lifestyle. I'm preserving my sexual energy. I'm eating a clean, healthy diet. I'm serving other people. I'm doing my everyday service for others, and I'm helping others in some way, shape, or form. And I'm just trying to be as as centered as I can possibly be, as in alignment as I could possibly be with my higher nature, with the divine source, right? I'm living with as little as I could possibly live with. I'm selling what I can sell to live a super minimalistic lifestyle. And I'm so detached from these worldly achievements and these worldly pursuits and goals and accomplishments and so on. Yeah, I have found, after all of these things, right, I have found that I don't care about anything, right? I'm so detached from everything, and it makes you more powerful when you're detached from everything. You don't care about anything at all. And I'm not saying that, I'm not gonna show up to my job anymore. I'm gonna, just not go to work anymore. I'm not gonna, brush my teeth. I'm not gonna floss. I'm not going to shower. I'm not gonna, take care of my hair. I'm not really gonna wear any clothes. I'm not really gonna, eat anything, because I'm above all of these things. No, I still have to show up, and I still have to, deal with my callings in the world, and deal with the callings that I have been dealt with, right, in society. I can't just not show up to my job anymore because I'm so high now. I'm so spiritual. Wow. My boss calls me. Yeah, I pick up the phone. I'm like, boss, I'm not coming in today. I'm too spiritual to come in today. Sorry, you're going to have to call somebody else to come cover me because I'm not coming in today. Bye. And I just hang up on him. Like, that's not how it works, and it's almost like that's kind of like a non-dualist kind of mentality. There's some duality, there's some contrast, but it's I still need to do what I have to do. These are my callings, right? I still have to face my callings, and I still have to attend and deal with my callings in society. I can still do these things while being detached from them and not really care about them, right? Like, I still need to show up, go to my job, be a good worker, because that's my calling and that's my service to the society and the world. Or I still have to take care of my living situation and my housing, because I need to take care of myself. That's my calling. I'm called to take care of myself and to meet certain needs for myself and to get my needs met for myself. My essential or my necessities need to get taken care of for myself, right? So like, I can do all of these things while being detached still. While still being very, very detached, I could still, engage with all of these worldly callings, right? So it's like I can lose my bank account or whatever I have as far as like my earnings and my savings. Everything just gets shut down, hypothetically, and I'm so detached that I wouldn't really care too much. I would be like, I never really had that bank account anyway. I never even had those savings anyway. So that's okay. God will always provide what you need in that moment. You'll never have to go without. He'll always provide what you need in that moment. Even if it looks like, in the mind, it looks like you're not getting what you need and life's hard and you're struggling. Well, that's just the way that your mind's perceiving the situation. The mind can't fully comprehend the bigger picture and the bigger situation that you're placed into, because your mind is so limited. You are in this limited body with its limitations. So of course you're going to see in a very narrow pathway. You're going to see it from a very limited point of view. And that's just the way the mind works. That's the way that these limitations work in this body, in this vessel that we live in. So you're always going to have what you need in that moment. You'll never be able to go without. So I'm saying, hypothetically, if I were to lose my job, if I were to lose my bank account, all my savings, all my life savings like that, I'm so detached that I would say, okay, that's not good, right? Like, nobody would be happy. Like, that's not a good thing, right? But I'm so detached that I would say, I would know right away that wasn't my bank account anyway. I never had any of that money anyway. That was never even my bank account to begin with, right? I'm so detached. Or I lose my house. Or I lose, I lose my house, I lose my living situation, it falls apart. Well, that was never my house to begin with. So I'll be fine. Or that living situation that I was placed in was just very temporary. People are shooting off fireworks right now. But, that living situation was very temporary, and it wasn't mine to begin with, right? So this is how you will start to see things. When you become so detached from everything, you become so detached from your egoic attachments and your identity, you become detached from all your addictions, all your vices, all your anything that has to do with your identity, you are just completely detached from. And you start to see things as, this body, you don't own this body. This body is like you're renting out this body, and it's not gonna last. You're gonna blink and the body is gone. And you'll be in a whole different form. It happens so fast. time does. It blinks, you blink, and you'll find yourself in a new body. You'll find yourself in a new form. You won't even think about it, because you're just constantly going by. This is life. This is how life goes. Everything will cycle through a new body. Everything will cycle and take a new form. These bodies are rental bodies. We're renting out these bodies. We don't take these bodies with us when we die. These bodies are very, very temporary. We blink, we're in this body. We blink, we're in a different body. We're in a different form. It's like it never even happened. Nothing happened. This is the whole show. This is the game that we're playing right now. We don't own anything, right? And we don't want to own anything. I don't want to own anything. I'm glad I don't own anything, right? If I were to lose my job, I would be so other people might be sad for me. Other people might feel for me. Other people might not. They might feel down for me, right? But I'm just so detached. The way I would see it is I would say, well, that's fine. That wasn't my job anyway. You can't really lose once you have this frame of mind. Once you have this high level realization, you just can't lose. It's impossible to. So